Borderlands 3 co-lead writer takes aim at Sweet Baby Inc. critics, claims most, quote, have never created a single thing in their lives that they're proud of, and the rest are just straight up bigots. Oh boy, sounds like a real reasonable guy. This story comes to us from Spencer Bakuli over at Bounding Into Comics. Today, we're diving deep into the recent Twitter controversy sparked by Gearbox narrative director Sam Winkler's comments on Sweet Baby Inc. and DEI consultancy in the video game industry. Strap in as we dissect Winkler's flawed arguments and the reactions, they've provoked, and the ongoing controversies surrounding Sweet Baby Inc. Winkler's initial remarks on Twitter attempted to dismiss critics of Sweet Baby Inc. and DEI consultancy as either envious or prejudiced individuals. He argued that hiring external experts to address knowledge and skill gaps is a standard practice in creative industries, including writing. However, his oversimplified view failed to acknowledge legitimate concerns raised by both players and industry professionals. One Twitter user challenged Winkler's stance, emphasizing the importance of maintaining a distinct authorial voice in creative works. Authorial means like the author's, authorial voice means like when you read a George R. R. Martin book, you can tell the difference between a Tolkien book, for instance. They're generally kind of like fantasy setting with dragons and stuff, but they're very different in how they communicate. Like not just in how the words they use, but how they use those words inside of like the story itself, right? Very different. That's an authorial voice. Just to clarify the situation. They question the necessity of consultants dictating narrative decisions and express skepticism about the quality of storytelling in games influenced by external parties. Despite these valid concerns, Winkler doubled down on his position, dismissing dissenting voices as ignorant or bigoted. You know, real big brain guy, galaxy brain here. The conversation quickly devolved into a debate about the role of expansive writing teams and the quality of TV shows produced in writers' rooms. What this has to do with Sweet Baby Inc. is a mystery to me just as much as it's a mystery to you. However, Winkler's attempts to draw parallels between a television production and video game development fell flat. As they should, right? As they should. Revealing a lack of understanding of the unique challenges and dynamics of each medium. Yeah, in a television show, I don't get to like teabag the guy that just died on screen, right? I don't get to do that. The character might, but that's a writer's decision that was taken care of months beforehand. With a video game, though, guess what? Furthermore, Winkler's assertion that hiring consultants is akin to filling knowledge and skill gaps overlooks the broader implications of DEI consultancy in gaming. While consultants may bring valuable expertise and perspectives to projects, there are concerns about the potential for ideological agendas to overshadow creative vision and storytelling quality. Now, gee, I wonder, did any of that influence Spider-Man 2 with its influence, this very influenced side mission that has nothing to do with Spider-Man? I wonder. I wonder. Now, let's shift our focus to the controversy surrounding Sweet Baby Inc. and its involvement in the gaming industry. Sweet Baby Inc., a narrative consultation company specializing in diversity and inclusion, has faced mounting criticism from players and industry insiders alike. One particularly contentious issue arose with the creation of a Steam curator list called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, created by the Giga Chad, Cabrutus. This list aimed to track games associated with Sweet Baby Inc. and raise awareness among players about the company's influence on the game's narratives. However, instead of addressing the concerns raised by players like Cabrutus, Sweet Baby Inc. and its supporters chose to dismiss them as baseless or motivated by bigotry. The backlash against Sweet Baby Inc. intensified when its involvement in various high-profile projects like Spider-Man 2 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was revealed. Players expressed concerns about perceived narrative decisions influenced by the company Sweet Baby Inc., such as forced diversity and socio-political messaging. However, instead of engaging with constructive criticism, Sweet Baby Inc. instead insisted on getting Cabrutus banned as well as the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected curator list banned. Rather than saying, hey guys, maybe we did get a little heavy-handed here and there. Maybe we are being over-aggressive with this socio-political stuff that we're sticking into everything, everywhere we get hired. Maybe. No. Instead, they had to silence Cabrutus and anybody else that was on his side, right? It's horrible. And again, like Cabrutus didn't start this. There have been people criticizing this stuff for years. I think Gamergate was talking about this way back when. It wasn't just the journos that were corrupt. The devs themselves were being held hostage in some cases. Not like a hostage, like Iranian hostage situation, but like politically held hostage, if you know what I mean. These controversies highlight the need for a greater transparency and accountability in the gaming industry. While there is a growing recognition for quality in gaming, it must be balanced with artistic integrity and respect for the player's autonomy. Like, again, like they banned people getting rid of the pride flags, except for Saudi Arabia. They took that out of the Saudi Arabia in the Spider-Man games. Remember that? There was a huge controversy. The guy that made the mod in the US ended up being banned, even though they took it out of the Saudi Arabia release because, you know, Saudi Arabia is not exactly down with the rainbow flag, you know? And this is where we're at. You know, it must be balanced with artistic integrity and respect for player autonomy. By dismissing valid concerns and resorting to divisive rhetoric, Sweet Baby Inc. and its allies only further alienate themselves from the gaming community as a whole. And that's right. As we see these people continue to act out, they're not making friends. They are not making people feel hopeful about the future. We're seeing people dig their heels in on what is pretty much universally regarded as a bad idea. That these have been, at the very least, ham-fisted and at the most deliberate attempts to brainwash people through gaming. That sounds ridiculous, right? But wait, you know, you remember Take This? That was another organization that came out and defended Sweet Baby Inc. They received funding from Homeland Security. And Homeland Security, guess what? They're checking out gamers and labeling them terrorists. You get too high of a score in COD, congratulations, you're going to Guantanamo. I realize that's hyperbolic, but this is where we're at. There is a clear path that could happen to somebody now. It's possible. That's the worst part. Not that it's happened. Maybe it has. We don't know. But it's possible. That's the most disturbing part of this. And that's what all these people are digging their heels in about. Is that you're evil because you're not down with just ramming this random spray paint quest with a deaf girl into Spider-Man. Like you're just not Spider-Man anymore and you got to go around doing deaf girl poetry. And it's like, I had this been a game mechanic of Watch Dogs, maybe that would have made sense. But in a Spider-Man game, that just comes wildly out of nowhere. When we turn Viking characters into Africans, like they did with Agrabota in the Ragnarok games, the God of War Ragnarok game, it's not that it's like making all these Viking guys angry, like all these, you know, Nordic worshippers angry. What it does is it says to Black people, you're not worth a character. We can't be bothered to create a character for you. We're just going to take this existing character and just, you know, make them you, because we can't be bothered to make a new one. That's the problem with all this diversity and inclusion hiring, is it's not about actually telling stories about people that are outside of the Buck Rogers aesthetic, I guess, because that's a problem now, apparently. What it's about is checking off a box. It's reducing people to simply the categorizations that they can fit into on a demographic report for a census. That's not how you tell a story about human beings. That's how you fill corporate quotas, though. That's how you satisfy a government mandate, certainly. But it's not about humans. And that's the biggest problem. You know, that's the huge problem with inserting all this ham-fistedly all the time with this, is that it's not true. It's not real stuff. I want you to think about Static Shock. I want you to go back and like relive when you first were introduced to Static Shock and you were like, whoa, you know, this Virgil Hawkins kid, he's pretty cool. He's got a whole different way of doing things. He's kind of Spider-Man-like, but he's also a little more science-y like Reed Richards, but he's a DC character. So he's hanging out with Batman and he's hanging out with Superman and he's part of the Justice League when he grows up. He's mentoring young Batman in the future. You know, he's this cool guy. It had nothing to do with Static being Black. I don't know if that's news to people out there. Like Steel, John Henry Irons, nothing to do with him being Black. Automatically a classic character. Wonderfully executed, a man inspired by Superman. An American man inspired by Superman. The real mission of Superman was to inspire people to chase after the moral heights that he was representing. Not that he could lift planets over his head. That's neat. That's cool. Lasers out of the eyes. Neato. But what the real purpose of Superman is to inspire people to reach greater heights. And that's the example that John Henry Irons followed. It doesn't matter that he's black. But it matters to Sweet Baby Inc. because it crosses off a box for them. It checks off on a list for them. That's the problem. That's where the pushback's coming from. When you go calling people bigots and racists and Nazi and all these other things because they're pushing back against these ham-fisted ideas, you're dismissing the core problem of the issue that's not being communicated is that when you talk about diversity, you're just talking about crossing off a requirement on a list. That's all you're doing. That's it. The end. I'm sorry I have to be the one to tell these game devs that, these studios this, they know it, but they're afraid to come out and say it because they'll get canceled. So here I am, here you are, common sense. There's nothing to do with the racial background, it has everything to do with why that character's there, what they're doing to contribute to the end goal of the story. Sorry, it's not that hard. We're not reinventing the wheel here. It's not that hard. So again, like, Winkler closed out with this. This was his genius take. We quoted it here in the beginning, but here it is in its like Twitter authenticity, its X authenticity, I guess. Just further evidence that 99% of the people spewing this stuff have never created a single thing in their lives that they're proud of, and the rest are just straight up bigots. Well, I guess I know which one I am. I made something that I'm proud of. You probably have too. So I guess that means we're the B word now. Just because we don't want to see a ham-fisted, horrible, corporatized checkbox list of a human imitation in a video game. A lot of people put their hearts and minds into making it good, but at the end of the day, the root cause of it is BS. So instead you create stuff like this, and I'll show you this. You see these characters, you'll note, what do you know? Look at that. Pretty diverse group of people, but created by a B word. If you're to believe Mr. Winkler and his vision of the world, that's what I am, and anybody else who's not down with Sweet Baby Inc.'s BS. I'll see you in the next video, though. Until then, good luck out there.